The snow fell steadily on the quiet streets of downtown Minneapolis as Jonathan Hayes walked hand in hand with his 6-year-old daughter Emma toward their car after an evening at the Children's Theater. At 38, Jonathan had built a successful consulting firm that afforded them a comfortable life, but he made sure that Emma understood the importance of experiencing culture and giving back to their community. As they approached the parking garage, Emma suddenly stopped walking and tugged on her father's coat sleeve. "Daddy, why is she sleeping here?" Emma asked, pointing toward a figure huddled on a bench near the entrance. Jonathan followed his daughter's gaze and saw a woman, probably in her early 30s, curled up on the cold metal bench, with only a thin blanket and worn coat for protection against the freezing temperature. Even from a distance, he could see she was shivering. "She probably does not have a warm place to stay tonight, sweetheart," Jonathan explained gently, kneeling down to Emma's level. Emma studied the woman with the serious expression that Jonathan had learned meant she was working through a problem. "But it is snowing, Daddy. She will get very cold." "Yes, she will," Jonathan agreed, feeling the familiar tug of conscience that Emma's compassionate observations always triggered in him. Emma was quiet for a moment, then looked up at her father with determined eyes. "Can we help her?" Jonathan looked back at the woman on the bench, then at his daughter's expectant face. He had taught Emma about kindness and helping others, but this was the first time she had been confronted with such direct need. "What do you think we should do?" he asked Emma. "Maybe she could come to our house where it is warm," Emma suggested with the straightforward logic of childhood. "We have extra rooms, and Mrs. Patterson always makes too much soup." Jonathan felt his heart clench with pride at his daughter's immediate impulse toward generosity. He walked closer to the bench, Emma following beside him. "Excuse me, ma'am," Jonathan said softly, not wanting to startle the woman. "Are you all right?" The woman looked up with wary eyes, clearly accustomed to people who meant her harm or wanted her to move along. She appeared to be in her early 30s with dark hair partially hidden under a knit cap and clothes that, while clean, were obviously inadequate for winter weather. "I am fine," she said quietly, though her shivering contradicted her words. Emma stepped forward before Jonathan could respond. "My name is Emma, and this is my daddy. We were wondering if you would like to come to our house where it is warm. We have hot soup and extra blankets." The woman stared at Emma in amazement, clearly not expecting such kindness from strangers. "That is very sweet of you, honey, but I could not impose on your family." "You would not be imposing," Jonathan said, surprising himself with how quickly he had made the decision. "My daughter is right. It is too cold for anyone to be outside tonight. We have plenty of room and warm food." The woman looked between Jonathan and Emma, tears gathering in her eyes. "I am Sarah," she said finally, "and I would be very grateful for somewhere warm to spend the night." During the drive to his house, Jonathan learned that Sarah Mitchell had been a social worker until a series of personal tragedies, job loss, medical bills from her mother's cancer treatment, and eventual eviction had left her homeless 3 months ago. She had been staying at shelters when possible, but they were often full, leaving her to sleep outside on nights like this. "I keep applying for new positions," Sarah explained, "but it is difficult when you do not have a permanent address or proper clothes for interviews." Emma listened from her car seat with the attentive concern that had characterized her personality since she was very small. "Do you have children?" she asked Sarah. "I do not," Sarah replied softly, "but I used to work with many children in my job. I miss that very much." At Jonathan's house, their housekeeper, Mrs. Patterson, took one look at Sarah and immediately went into nurturing mode, preparing a hot bath, warm clothes, and a substantial meal. Emma appointed herself as Sarah's guide, showing her where the towels were and explaining which soap smelled the best. Over dinner, Jonathan found himself impressed by Sarah's intelligence, resilience, and gentle manner with Emma. Despite her circumstances, she maintained her dignity and showed genuine interest in Emma's school activities and hobbies. "Sarah knows about helping children," Emma announced to her father. Maybe she could help me with my school project about community helpers. I would be honored to help with your project, Sarah said, smiling at Emma with genuine warmth. That night, as Jonathan tucked Emma into bed, she looked up at him with serious eyes. Daddy, can Sarah stay with us for more than one night? She seems very sad and lonely. Jonathan had been thinking the same thing. What do you think we should do, Emma? I think we should ask her to stay until she finds a new job and gets her own house again, Emma said practically. That is what families do for each other. Over the following days, what was intended as temporary shelter evolved into something more meaningful. Sarah proved to be a wonderful companion for Emma, helping with homework, engaging in imaginative play, and providing the kind of gentle, nurturing presence that had been missing from their lives since Jonathan's divorce 2 years earlier. More importantly, Sarah's background in social work made her an invaluable resource for Emma's emotional development. She had insights into child psychology and development that helped Jonathan navigate some of the challenges of single parenthood he had been struggling with alone. After 2 weeks, Jonathan made Sarah an offer that surprised them both. Sarah, I have a proposition for you, he said. Emma and I have both come to care about you very much. You have brought something special into our home, and I wonder if you would consider making this arrangement more permanent. Sarah looked confused. What do you mean? I mean, I would like to offer you a position as Emma's live-in companion and household coordinator. The salary would be enough for you to rebuild your savings while having the stability of a home base for job searching in your field. Sarah stared at him in amazement. Jonathan, I could not possibly accept such generosity. You have already done more for me than I could ever repay. You have already repaid us, Jonathan replied honestly. Emma has been happier these past 2 weeks than I have seen her since the divorce. You have given her something I could not provide alone, the feeling of being part of a complete family again. 6 months later, Sarah had secured a new position with a local nonprofit organization, but she continued living with Jonathan and Emma in an arrangement that had evolved into something resembling a family. Emma had gained a loving adult figure who understood her needs and supported her development, while Jonathan had found a partner in parenting who shared his values and commitment to raising Emma with compassion and integrity. The relationship between Jonathan and Sarah had grown into something deeper than employer and employee, built on mutual respect, shared values, and their common devotion to Emma's well-being. Emma often reminded them both that the best decision they ever made was stopping to help someone who needed it. Her simple question about why someone was sleeping outside had led to a transformation that enriched all their lives. The millionaire who had everything money could buy discovered that the most valuable additions to his family were not purchased, but found through acts of compassion that opened hearts and created bonds stronger than any contract could provide. And Sarah learned that sometimes losing everything leads you exactly where you need to be, not just to receive help, but to give the kind of love and support that makes a house truly become a home.